Someone once said that it's better to get married in the morning, so that if it doesn't work out, you haven't wasted the whole day. This might sound strange, but it isn't far from the truth. Imagine yourself doing pin curls and ironing ties at the crack of dawn, and then worrying about crinkled table napkins all day long or clean glasses and salad being served late. You could then be listening to hackneyed toast from 100 guests and laughing at feeble jokes of the Toastmaster. Do you really want to spend the happiest day of your life like this? Probably not, as you can be much more creative and decide to do something crazy on that special day, which will bring you both closer together. If you don't think so, ask James Bond. In the film License to Kill, he organized an epic appearance for his friend Felix Leiter, the groom to impress his bride. How was Bond to know that the groom coming down from the sky is already an old hat? Today we are going to tell you the stories of 5 couples who promised to stay together on the highest rocks, underwater and in the sky. Here we go! The romantic sunsets and azure landscapes of Mauritius's palm trees and coconuts sound ideal for a wedding. Lee and Chen decided that there are some beautiful landscapes a world away and went farther, or rather deeper, and got married underwater. Marriage itself is an important step, all the more so when it starts beneath the ocean. So the couple was scrupulous about the process. They took diving lessons and learned to communicate underwater using gestures. The ceremony was performed with all the usual things: a wedding dress, photographer, groom, rings, and even some sort of the first dance. The only thing we fail to understand is how the couple managed to deal with the classic ending, and now you can kiss the bride. If ruining a wedding dress with an underwater wedding doesn't bother you, it's much more complicated to comply with classical dress code in the sky. Many happy couples have already held their wedding in the sky. They can tell you much about thorough preparations that should be done before this ceremony. Firstly, you'll have to forget romance during the flight. All formalities, including signatures, bridegroom's vows, rings, and kisses are to be settled in the plane because you can be pretty disoriented after the jump. You wouldn't like to share knowing looks and smile at each other in the air. The rules say that the second tandem jumper leaps into the void 10 to 15 seconds after the first one. Needless to say, there is no privacy in a tandem jump, as the instructors are strapped to the bride and groom. Only the registrar or the priest will be watching you from the cabin. A British couple, Darren McWalter and Kate Hodgson, persuaded 67-year-old George Brigham to pronounce them husband and wife standing on a wing of an airplane in flight. Each participant of the ceremony was tied to the cabin of one of 3 colorful biplanes, which flew side by side, about 1,000 feet or 300 meters above ground at a speed of 160 kilometers per hour. Like in the previous weddings, the exchange of rings and hugs had to be put off until landing. Love lends wings, but safety rules should be kept. As for the bridegroom's vows, they were heard all over the neighborhood, as the words were transmitted via loudspeakers. By the way, the couple's engagement was almost as extreme as the wedding. Kate said her yes somewhere in the Brazilian landscape. When you choose a wedding photographer, never sign the contract with those who only offer standard seafronts, restaurants, or beaches. If they suggest shooting photos on Everest, be sure that they take photos of you, not the backdrop. That's how James Sissom and Ashley Schmeider found themselves in the mountains of Nepal, the world's first couple to get married at Mount Everest Base Camp at a height of 5,000 meters. The groom and the bride were preparing the wedding ceremony for about a year, since a passage like this required not only moral, but physical forces. After hiking for 3 weeks, the changeable mountain weather only offered the couple 1 hour for the photo shoot, but it was quite enough to capture their emotions and unique views, as well as mountain boots of the bride perfectly matching her coat. Unfortunately, they failed to find an adventurous priest, so all the formalities had to be settled on return. The last story is about how photographers can inspire heroes for crazy wedding ceremonies. For several years, Jay and Vicky Philbrick from New Hampshire have been suggesting that newlyweds should risk their lives climbing a sheer 100-meter-high cliff. Of course, not all agree to this, but those who manage to overcome their fear not only find themselves as if they're alone in the whole world, but also get photos that would cause any normal person to feel dizzy. Behind the romance are long preparations and thorough security arrangements. But who's to say it isn't worth it? To sum up, if you want your wedding to really be the happiest day of your life, make it different and don't be afraid of anything. And yes, drinks all around, as Captain Jack Sparrow suggests.